on the red. Corky, the first ban away from Maple Street, so they're already targeting at the AD carry.
Yeah, he played a lot of Corky in both the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and so we'll have to see how that's going to affect his champion pool. Pretty much only played Corky and Lucian. So I can imagine Zenith has a plan either to ban out Lucian or take it away from Maple Street really early on in the draft, because he hasn't shown yet to be able to play anything else in this patch. He hovered over Caitlyn for a while, and we know that he's been a Caitlyn player for some time, but I'm not sure how Caitlyn would fare in the meta currently.
You know, Lucian's been a pretty strong pick for Maple Street for a long time, even going back before his rework when he was, of course, incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, throughout all of that, he's kind of resurged continually for a lot of players. But for Maple especially, it's been almost a pocket pick, which is kind of a weird thing to say when it comes to a top-tier pick, but still. And they do ban it away.
Yeah, and I like this plan because Alex the Man, while he does play those champions, he's known to focus a lot on hyper carries. He plays Jinx, he plays Vayne exceptionally well, and I guess they're trying to focus on Maple Street, knowing that he may not play those hyper carries as well, putting him in an uncomfortable position, which could be a big deal for these guys, because they know they've heard rumors and people are saying that Team N is out of practice, and being out of practice and putting somebody on a champion that they're uncomfortable with is sort of just like a double whammy, and that's not something that you want to. That's not a position you want to be in if you're teammate.
Aside from the AD carry focus, too, there have been a lot of top lane bans. Rumble Rise taken away by Team N, as well as Gnar, who we've seen almost consistently banned on this patch. Vayne, the final pickup. And what do they lock in here? There are a lot of options. Solo King was targeted, and it looks like they will be thinking about the Kazakhs. That goes over to Mimo.
Yep, pretty solid first pick. Kazakhs and Lee Sin are still the go-to junglers for the majority of people. We've seen some Jarvan as well. We saw some Elise to not quite as much success, but still some success with Thinkard when he tried, or I think Team 8 tried to completely ban him out in the semifinals. So we'll have to see what's left for Purpose Pops. He has been a Nocturne player for quite some time. He actually drew some bans for Nocturne in the semifinals as well as the quarterfinals, and he has been drawing bans for quite a long time, but it looks like he's hovering over Lee Sin. It seems like that's going to be his go-to choice.
Yeah, should be a fairly obvious pick. Those have been the top tiers, of course. We also see Dodo's Thresh being considered right now. We didn't mention it earlier, but Zenith playing with the sub on support. K1 Pro currently not in action, so Hakuo, who was actually a player on Zenith a little while ago, back when the bot lane comprised him and Gigi Jessica Jung, so that will be who they have as well. So maybe hit that bot lane hard seems to be the teammate strategy.
So we'll have to see what Zenith is going to follow up with. Wow, an instant lock onto Maokai. And I guess that is Solar King's go-to choice, with Rumble and Rise both being banned. Yeah, and Gnar as well. So lots of top lane bans, lots of AD carry bans. Solar King did play quite a bit of Maokai across the quarterfinals and semifinals. So, and it was to pretty mild success. He actually had a lot of trouble in some games getting caught out of position, and that caused Zenith to not win as quickly as they could have in some of their games. So we'll have to watch Solar King to see if he can correct some of those mistakes that he was making in the quarters and semis.
Yeah, this is already a pretty interesting composition from Zenith. I almost half expect an Orianna to be locked in on the next round just because of the amount of ball delivery that they do have. A serious amount of CC as well, but you can tell they're saving the AD carry pick. And Maple Street, again, deprived of a lot of champions, kind of cycling through a couple of them. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Twitch out of him.
Yep. And
oh, wow, a Morgana lock in. That's going to be a mid.
It could... Well, I'm curious to see what Maple Street's going to lock in as the AD carry here.
Please lock Draven.
He has been a Draven player for quite some time, and has had some success on Draven, but it's been really hit or miss with him. And Draven is sort of a hit or miss champion at his core, and if he gets shut down early on or has a lot of stacks but loses them and never gets going, never gets those kills, never cashes in on those passive stacks, then he can really just sort of be detrimental to the team. Without an innate escape, he's really susceptible to being CC'd and focused down, and if he's behind, it's just so hard for him to get back into a game. Now, you talked a little bit about the Orianna pickup from the side of Zenith, and you said they have a lot of ball delivery with the Maokai, with the Kazakhs, and Orianna was actually a pick that was instrumental in some of Zenith's wins in the quarters and semis. There was one game where Easy, in 45 minutes into the game, got a 5-man shockwave onto the enemy team, which completely aced them 5-for-0 with that team fight, and they pushed for the victory right there at 45 minutes. So he doesn't decide to go for it, but Zenith was also a pick that he had a lot of success on in the quarters.
Yeah, they definitely had a serious amount of damage coming out of that one game. Hopefully they'll be able to do it again. They will need it, as there's a Zed lock-in. Again, don't be fooled by the name. He might love pentakills, but it is, of course, Slushy 8, and they will be completing that lineup. So actually, it's Thresh in the top lane and Morgana on support. A really curious lineup from Team 8 right now, and we'll have to see how Zenith does respond to this. So I'm really liking this team out of Zenith, but it's hard to predict what Team 8, even out of practice, is going to do.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. It's going to be a Morgana top lane.
Never mind.
Which I was going to say, I saw Cali Trolls playing it on some streams in solo queue earlier on this week. I saw him play it a couple times, and he was having quite a bit of success with it. And we'll have to see how it's going to fare here. A lot of the times against Maokai, you can afford to pick top laners that take a little bit longer to get going, that are a little bit more susceptible in lane, because Maokai can be a lane bully, but it's really hard for him to. He has to get really far ahead. He has to have a lot of jungle pressure, and then he could start being a lane bully, but at the beginning he's not. And with Morgana's spell shield, it's going to block quite a bit of the damage and the crowd control that Maokai's going to have to offer. So he should be pretty safe until the teamfight phase. And we all know that Cali Trolls is the shot caller and usually the main initiator for Team 8. And Morgana, while a little bit unorthodox, is a champion that can make good initiation. So we'll have to see how that's going to work out for him. But I'm really excited. This is a very snowbally team from Team 8. They got the Draven, the Lee Sin, and the Zed, which are all very snowbally champions. So I'm curious to see where they're going to target on Zenith's lineup and how they're going to do.
On the other hand, Zenith has a pretty terrifying composition as long as they don't need to directly engage. They have a lot of disengage on their side. They also have a lot of kite potential. You have a Caitlyn and a Xerath on the same team. That's a team that's really, really hard to go all into. But Slushy on that Zed definitely makes me worried a little bit for Alex the Man and Easy. If you can get up close and personal to either of those champions, it's not terribly difficult to cancel them out completely, and that opens the gates.
And Alex the Man, I talked about how Maple Street's sort of been a Caitlyn player, but Alex the Man is an exceptional Caitlyn player. I think it was either in the group stages of this Black Monster Cup or the playoffs of Black Monster Cup Summer. I don't even remember what team he was playing for. I don't think it was part of Zenith. But he was a monster on Caitlyn, going legendary almost every game and single-handedly carrying his teams in some of those Caitlyn's games. Now, Caitlyn has sort of fallen out just a little bit, but still, when you've banned out most of the AD carries, Corki, Lucian, Vayne, to make a comfortable pick for yourself in a matchup that you want, I think Alex the Man and Easy are going to be the two players to watch in this game from Zenith to see if they can hold up against teammates. Very aggressive, very snowbally type team comp.
Yeah, they'll certainly have to do it. If they can get to late game, it will be in their favor, but you can never count out Team 8 getting a lead early and running with it. We'll have to see how this game goes forward. But guys, we are done with our pre-show analysis. We're going to be taking ourselves a really, really quick break, and when we return, we'll be joining you on Summoner's Rift Zenith eSports versus Team 8 for the third place match. It's best of 3. Don't go anywhere, because the Black Monster Cup's happening right now. Once again to the Black Monster Cup, we are getting ready to kick off our Fall 2014 third place match. On one side, it is two-time defending champions Team 8. Well, they won't be defending anymore as they've already lost their chance to be taking this tournament, but they can still show a strong finish. In front of them, Zenith eSports. Got a lot to prove. Pretty new roster here and a strong lineup. Of course, Azuma, what do you make of this champion select as we just saw it?
It was pretty standard for some things, but also we're going to see some things that we haven't seen either ever or in quite some time. Caitlyn being brought out as an AD carry, Draven being brought out as an AD carry, and then Cali Trolls breaking out the Morgana top. I mentioned a little bit, he's been playing it some in solo queue, but I can't imagine he has much competitive practice on it because that's the first time I've ever seen him play it. And I don't think I've ever seen him play it in competitive play, so we'll have to see how it works out. If he picked it with money on the line, you know he's at least somewhat confident with it, so I'm excited to see what he has in store.
Yeah, and it's very specifically about how much they do have riding on this one. The fourth place finisher, $750, not a bad chunk of change, but you add an extra $1,000 to that one if you manage to win this best 2 out of 3. So both teams going to be trying their hardest to make it happen. Team 8 with a very conservative strategy, just moving around the map and making sure they get early wards out, whereas there's a 5-man bush camp here for Zenith.
Yeah, now one thing that we have to remember from Zenith and that we have to commend them for in the quarters and semifinals was their very creative and very powerful level 1 strategies. You can tell that they're very practiced and have a lot of tricks up their sleeve when it comes to level 1. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for us in these couple games. They're almost always grouped at 5 at level 1 in all of these games. And sometimes it backfires, but the majority of times I see them go for these invades at level 1. It's at least mildly successful. So, and it always catches the enemy off guard.
Well, not this time. Teammate did spot that one out, and the double ward comes out in that particular brush. So, looks like Slushie will just be spamming away, knowing he's not going to get anywhere near that blue buff. Just going to prompt a nice and easy switcheroo to start things off. So, with everything else being normal right here, you still got to give the upper hand to Teammate for being able to spot that out, and a teleport is burned by Solo King up top.
Yeah, a pretty textbook passive level 1 strategy. They put wards all across the river, which allowed them to spot the late level 1 invade on their blue buff, and they basically let just trade. So it's going to be a pretty standard level 1. Both junglers are just going to stay on bottom side and top side respectively for these guys. So not really anything lost or gained from either team.
A lot of early action in that bot lane. Maple is taking the offensive. Spinning axes are flying. Dodo is taking the brunt of the aggression his way as well, but still, everything's starting off nice and easy. Alex and Hakuo have to be careful here.
Yeah, they do have sustain in the lane, so if it looks like they come out behind on the trade, it might not be the case with the heal from Nami. Whoa, Porpoise pops!
Hello, yeah, he comes in nice and early, but he does take a lot of damage on the backside of that one, so Easy making him punish just a little bit, and Slushie, meanwhile, not really on the up and up for that one. Now we see Mimo making a move to get his red buff. Normal starts there, but he could be making a move towards the bottom after it. Maple Street is still only level 2. And at this point, he does not have stand aside just yet, so no easy escapes for this Draven.
And we just got a little bit of a glimpse from the top side of the map there, and you can tell, you can obviously just see one of the strengths here coming out. Oh, Slushie could be in trouble.
Boy.
No, but one of the strengths here from Morgana up in the top lane is that she can push the lane incredibly quickly, especially once she gets more points into that tormented soil. She can really force Solo King to have to effectively CS under turret if he's not able to push the wave quick enough himself. So that could be a strength there with the Morgana top lane and Cali Trolls.
Yeah, an interesting choice to try and deal with that when the top lane has been as depleted as it was. No Rumble, no Rise available at all. That is, and no Gnar either. That is definitely an interesting adaptation out of Cali Trolls. Now meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Alex and Haku have managed to build themselves a decent wave and are able to push in here. Maple still sitting at about half HP, but he does have that little bit of lifesteal he gets from the Doran's Blade, same as Alex. Nothing else has really happened down there as the junglers haven't really made their moves. I'm kind of surprised Porpoise has been focusing so intensely on this mid lane.
Yeah, if he watched the game in the semifinals or quarterfinals, I can't remember, where Easy played Zenith, and I actually think it was in the semifinals, but he played Zenith and started the game off 10-0-10. It was a ridiculous performance on Zenith. He was getting solo kills, catching people out from nowhere, and being able to land his ult. They lost the game because Easy got hooked one time underneath the inhibitor turret at 15 minutes into the game. His only death of the game cost his team the game, and so he had a really impressive performance except for that split second where he managed to get hooked. So if they watch that, they know that they really got to keep Easy Zenith down or he's going to be a pain. Oh, bottom!
Uh-oh, Maple, he's caught right now. He could go down. This could be first blood, and it ends up going over to Hakuo on an auto attack, and definitely some miscommunication there, says the Draven, as he goes back to Fountain.
Yeah, a little bit odd because he still had both of his summoners available. I'm not sure if he just didn't see the Nami ultimate, if he was waiting for the last second, or the Nami auto attack, I'm sorry, because Caitlyn was out of range for the last auto attack, and those little water ball auto attacks from Nami can be a little bit tough to see, but without either summoner burned, he goes down.
Yeah, so individual kills in the lanes too, and even if it's picked up by Hakuo, still will be a little bit of extra gold in there, as well as the assist going over to Alex. So now both junglers again focusing very intensely on this mid. Porpoise making his way up with the red buff. You have Slushie. He's pretty low right now, but it's going to be a 1-2 switch. A little bit late as he has to flash away, and Mimo makes an appearance as well to just chase off any unwarranted aggression. So right now it looks like you've definitely got Zenith in the upper hand here, but they're not done just yet. Here we go, Living Shadow, and they're trying to make something happen, but Porpoise reveals very early, and Easy just makes to brush him off.
You could tell that Slushy is having quite a bit of trouble in that mid lane. You mentioned that Porpoise Pops is spending a lot of that time sort of babysitting him in the mid, and even with that, Easy is still managing to get himself a little bit of a lead, and he was dangerously close to getting a kill there. He used his exhaust, he traded the flash, so that's going to be a little bit of a victory for him, but not too much. Oh, Mimo, no, fails to jump over the wall.
Yeah, that'll happen to the best of them at some point. The pink ward getting cleared away by Porpoise right now, but a lot of attention being focused, as you said, on that mid lane. Meanwhile, the bot continues to trade back and forth very aggressively. Maple taking a bit of damage, spinning axes flying left and right, but he got his stacks reset, as you mentioned. It's a very risky play sometimes. Up on the top, though, Callie has been dealing very well with Solo King, as you said.
Yeah, and I mentioned that it could be a little bit of a rough time for Maokai, just because he might get pushed against his turret. He can't really be a lane bully, and that's sort of the weakness of Maokai, is that you can almost pick just about anything into Maokai, and they're going to be able to at least do okay and be able to get CS for themselves. Okay, it's just the late game that you bring him for.
He doesn't have the hook available. They don't know Porpoise. Here's a plays coming back. Dodo's trying to bait it out. They barely dodge the bubble. Here comes Porpoise. Hakuo's a little bit far forward. They don't quite have the damage, though, and he's not going to go in on the resonating strike. Maple and Dodo just taking too much abuse in this early game.
Yeah, no summoners burned from either side there. They put a little bit of pressure, but Porpoise Pops is just having trouble making things happen here. He's doing an okay job of farming his jungle as well. He's not that far behind Mimo. But it's going to get harder and harder for him to sort of keep up with Kha'Zix if he doesn't make plays happen, because Kha'Zix is going to scale a little bit better than Lee Sin as we get towards the later stages of this game. So Porpoise Pops is really going to try and look to make something happen as we get closer to probably mid-game and first dragon fight.
And slim gold lead right now in Zenith's pocket, but that can change with the swing of a dragon. All it needs to do is have an early team fight. Whoa, okay. In the mid lane, Slushy takes a little bit of punishment after being stunned up by Easy Xerath, and that might be a focus for the next game. If this ends up being the difference, they might have to think about banning that one out. It's a respect thing at this point.
Yeah, and just for those of you who might be wondering, Slushy is playing on his Smurf account because it has more champions, and he wants to be able to swap more easily in Champion Select, so...
I hear he loves pentakills.
He does indeed love pentakills. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get any in this game, because he's falling quite a bit behind Easy at this point, but that is Slushy. That is not some random sub that Teammate is using.
Well, bold prediction early on now. The members of Teammates trapped behind their own tower on the bot side. Oh, and you have Easy trying to make some moves. They're trying to finish up, but there's a lantern to safety. Maple Street nearly goes down and the wave subsides. This should be a tower if they want to take it. They could go straight for this dragon. It's 9 minutes into the game. Not that unconventional to go for, and they shouldn't have any contest here.
Yeah, what a great play there. A great roam by Easy, and landing some of that damage. That ult can be a little bit tough to land. And it basically, they don't get a kill, but it secures them the dragon because they send the bot lane back. And Porpoise Pops is actually back in base, so he doesn't even have an opportunity to steal this. So a 2k gold lead now for Zenith. This is getting a little bit scary for Teammate, because they don't have the greatest late game scaling team, whereas Zenith's is actually pretty good.
The longer the game goes on, it certainly favors them, and they haven't even really needed Mimo to do much than just provide some lane presence. He has been not the most effective ganking jungler, but he's still ahead in items. He's got a little bit more gold in his pocket just by virtue of the fact that he's been around and they've gotten that global gold. Meanwhile, they've kept Porpoise to really not doing much of anything this game, even though he has tried, and it is really working well in Zenith's favor. Meanwhile, again, the only thing really working out well for Teammate right now is that Callie Troll's Morgana pick.
Yep. And with Zenith's lead, you have to look at the success that they had with leads in the quarterfinals and semifinals. They actually struggled a bit at times closing out games when they had a lead. Now, granted, those leads were pretty small, so if they can manage to get a bigger lead in the early game and this time around, it could lead to better things for them, but we'll really have to look out for it, because that's something that they really struggled with, finding things to do while they were ahead in a game. And it's one of the reasons why they are finding their place in the third place match instead of the grand finals. So we'll have to see if they've remedied that in the past 3 or 4 days since the last games that they played in this tournament.
Here comes Porpoise. They do get the flash of the Solo King, and here it goes again. They get the kickback out of tower range, and Porpoise might be able to finish this one up with the help of Cali Trolls. They do manage to secure it, but here's Mimo for the revenge. Flash and jumps over. Not enough damage, but he gets him on the W. Meanwhile, Slushy in the mid is going to try to pick off that tower, but Easy is not going to make it just that. A lot of damage being dealt onto that Ninja as he just tries to run away. Hakuo in hot pursuit.
Yeah, after the beginning of that laning phase, Easy actually comes out a little bit behind. He did head for that dragon, which caused Slushy to be able to get some free CS while he was busy fighting the dragon, but still pretty even thus far. And Slushy's been bullied out of lane almost every time that he gets there, so Easy's been doing a great job of keeping on the pressure, and both turrets are pretty low, both mid turrets for both teams.
A little extra help from Maple Street in the bot lane. That Whirling Death helping clear out the minions just a little bit quicker means that Slushy and Dodo are able to force the remaining members of Zenith away from this one. But so far they've got no towers, and there is one loss for them, and everything else is blinking low. Now Hako's going to find Dodo in a brush, but the ladder does not want to engage onto that one. So next big fight might be around here. Dragon's still a ways away, so they will know this is going to be happening. Here we go. Oh boy, one more nuclear strike. It's going to be Slushy and Dodo have to be careful. Easy's going to get one kill. It's actually going over to Mimo, and they nearly get another one onto Slushy, who just ninjas his way out of harm, and so very close. Bot lane now being targeted. Alex is very low. Porpoise in hot pursuit. I don't know if he can catch him, though. He's got the heal. He uses it preemptively. Flash. Oh, he dodges away from the kick. There's a Dragon's Rage. Not going to be enough with the net. Porpoise is going to be able to pick himself up a pick.
That was a lot of ground covered by Porpoise Pops. Alex the man doesn't have boots, only BF Sword and Pickaxe. He spotted him coming across the river from from the bottom side river bush. So we spotted him from really far away. He was next to his turret, but with the mobility boots, Porpoise Pops was just able to cover a ridiculous amount of ground and still be able to pick up the kill.
Up on the Cali Trolls, though. They've got the chains. Are they going to go down? They do. It's a three-man. Cali might be able to walk this one out. And here comes Slushy. Gets a death mark on his Solo King going for Mimo, and that might be a 1 for 2. He gets one. Can he get out? Living Shadow's back. Mimo, he's going to go down to double kill. Can he pick the triple up? Easy's not going to make it that way, but it's a triple kill for Slushy.
What a stun underneath the turret by Cali Trolls. He did not have his flash in that situation, so a perfect soul shackles to keep himself alive and buy some time for Slushy to be able to get up there. Slushy was having an okay game, but it wasn't that great up until that point. But with that triple kill, the game gets blown wide open. Teammate is now back in this, picking up 4 kills across the board in the last 2 minutes, and is going to be 2 towers exactly. So what a play.
Yeah, excellent moves and excellent fancy footwork. That is why Slushy's on a flippin' ninja right now. He will be able to help Cali Troll secure that one up. But yeah, the Soul Shackle's absolutely instrumental, and they just didn't have the damage on the side of Zenith to be able to polish off Morgana. Very, very careless play to a degree, and again, teammate punishes him for it. They're in the gold lead.
Yeah, one of the biggest things about that fight that went wrong for Zenith was Easy was nearly out of mana as the fight began. He was able to sustain a little bit of mana up during the fight, but he wasn't able to use his abilities freely like he would have wanted to. If he had been, that fight would have been completely different. But that's sort of an oversight on Zenith's part, because they have to make sure when they're going for a risky play like that, that everybody that's going for that dive is going to be prepared for it with health, with mana. And I mean, great play by teammate, but maybe a little bit of too risky of a play there by Zenith when they really had not the means to execute it.
And they are going to try to fight over this blue right now. They will catch Maple Street up on a bubble, and that blue buff does go over to Mimo, so they will be able to walk away from that one. Nice and sneaky play, 30 seconds on this dragon. And again, as you mentioned, game's blown wide open. Just about anybody's for the taking, but all that early work that was done by Zenith has gone to naught, so they need to secure this dragon.
There wasn't really a chance at a steal there, not a big chance. And Easy was actually in place to get that blue buff, but they actually gave it over. Mimo queued it and executed at the last second. Whoa!
Oh man, get a catch on, yeah. There we go. Zareth, can he get the pick off? One more shot. They get a Caitlyn ultimate. Oh, it's going to follow him all the way with the lantern. That's another pick off. Alex the man with the clutch ace in the hole. That's the key to start up Dragon, boys.
Yeah, wow. That's the time that you do not want to take the lantern. He was actually been saved. Porpoise Pops had the block available, a pretty easy block, but he actually got him sort of almost in transition right as he landed, and it didn't give Dodo time enough to react to block that ace in the hole. And that picks him up a kill and a dragon. So just like that, And those are the plays that Easy was making the last time he played Zenith. I think in the semifinals, he would make these catches over walls and just 1-0 or 100% to 0 someone out, and they would get objectives off of it, and that happened throughout the entire game. So look for him to make plays like that, but also they really need to make sure that they're making sensible but also sort of aggressive plays to be able to close a game out. Whoa, Porpoise Pops.
Yeah, there's talk about fancy footwork, chasing down Hakuo right now. He does get the resonating strike. There's the one more shot, and I don't think it's going to be enough. The Dragon's Rage will help finish him off. But yeah, he nearly got the tidal wave on him, and Porpoise was just able to dodge it out.
Yeah, that's just Hakuo being a little bit too far out of position. He was trying to get some control over that vision, but Porpoise Pops is pretty far ahead now. He's got that Scythe Zone, the Spear of the Elder Lizard, and it's covering so much ground with the mobility boots. If you don't have backup quick enough, he's going to kill you.
Well, and they are going to need him to help out with this mid game right now. He has one of 2 players on teammate that do have a couple of kills to their name, 3 to be exact, Slushy being the other one. But yeah, Maple, he's been held to just 1 death and no assists in this game. Doesn't even quite have a finished item yet. So he's halfway between either an Infinity Edge or a Bloodthirster. And you know, Draven, one of those few AD carriers that does still or can still build Bloodthirster first.
Yeah, he benefits sort of double, not quite double, but a lot from the lifesteal because it procs off the bonus damage from his axes, from his Q. So that's why it's one of the items he's one of the champions where the Black Bloodthirster item is still viable on, because he sort of double dips in the lifesteal passive because of his Q. Now, you still need to make sure as Draven that you stay relevant in a game. If you're gonna sit there and farm and not be with your team making plays, you have to make sure that when team fights do come, that you find a way to cash in on those stacks, or else you will get outscaled.
Well, they will manage to get a little bit extra team gold as he does help pick up that tower in the bot. They do trade it up in the top as Alex was there pecking away the whole time. But again, 3 towers to 3, and it's only the outers remaining. Still 1,500 gold lead here in Hakuo. I think we've seen this somewhere before. This looks deja vu, as you said. One more kick over. He's still going on him, but this time he gets caught by the bubble, and that's a bait and switch. Porpoise, he's going to go down. That's another pickup. Easy does attack nuke strike from 5 seconds away.
Yeah, maybe a little bit overkill for Porpoise Pops, but they do not want that happening again.
This is why he's called that. Death marks onto the tree right now, and they keep on going. They want to fight right here, right now. Callie's going down the line. They get the Soul Shackles into the Zanya's Hourglass. They should be able to pick him off here. One more shot should do it, but Easy, he might go down. He's stunned up. Oh, Slushy, he's got to be so careful, and Maple gets popped as soon as that's all done. He does get himself a kill, cashing in the stacks, but then he goes down. And all said and done, Zenith taking a slightly better fight here. Oh, Slushy nearly goes down on the edge of that fight, and it ends up being a 2-4-3 in favor of Zenith.
It was a great ultimate by Calitrolls, just sort of buy time for his team. He actually didn't get any procs from the Soul Shackles off, but what it did was sort of disperse the entirety of Zenith and make it so the rest of his team was able to regroup and pick up some kills on the backside. Now, the one thing I do want to point out is Maple Street actually did pick up a kill in there before he went down, so he was able to cash in at least a little bit on the stacks that he was getting from that farm that he had down from the bot lane after he died. So he was able to pick up that completed Infinity Edge. And those are kind of the fights where Zenith doesn't really want to fight at this point in the game. Now they are ahead, but they want to try and make picks because Caitlyn is not strong in team fights right now in the mid game. She has quite a bit of a lull. She wants to wait till she has that second item before she has a big power spike. Second, maybe even third item or pieces of a third item before she has that big power spike. Before they go for those big brawly team fights. But they come on top just barely. But this is sort of the point where Zenith started to struggle and fall off in their games in the quarterfinals and semifinals. So I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to continue gaining a lead in this game.
Yeah, they definitely seem to have a little bit of trouble in that stage, and of course their composition's not going to help them out at this stage of the game anyways. Only 20 minutes in right now. They are holding on to a slim lead with Dragon coming up in a minute and a half. That should be the next objective to go for, but they have to be careful. The vision game is all around them as Porpoise clears out one of those in the top. Mimo also getting a little bit of sweep action on here. But yeah, you're right. Roaming is 5. It's going to be hard to find the perfect fight, but we have Slushy split pushing down the bottom. They might want to try to collapse on him. No teleports available for either top laner right now.
I wish we could see a wards placed and wards killed statistic in real time on the spectator client, because Porpoise Pops has been a monster in vision control this game. He got the sight stone really early because of some early kills, and he's been roaming around the map, taking advantage of his team's pink wards, and taking advantage of some of the players being out of position. He's gotten a couple kills while he was sweeping for vision, so that's how you know you're doing it right.
Talking about positioning right now, here comes the flank from Slushi. They're getting a flash in. Deathmark onto Hakuo. He's looking for some sushi for dinner. He's almost going to get the pop-off. Will it be enough damage? Not quite, and they're going to disengage from that one. Dodo now leading the charge, looking for round number 2. Amazingly, nobody dies.
Yeah, and that seems to be one of Zenith's strengths, is being able to disengage teamfights that they don't want to fight, and they have a good enough team comp for it. Nami is one of the best at being able to disengage fights because of her huge AoE ultimate that stops people in their tracks. So they do have actually really good siege potential. They have huge clear. Caitlyn is a fantastic sieger both offensively and defensively. So I think Zenith is really happy with playing the siege game at this point.
Yeah, they are going to have Team 8 here moving for the Dragon, but again, there is no Slushi, there is no teleport. He didn't run it, of course, and this is a 5v4 that Team 8 cannot afford to take. They are going to back up the Dragon. Wait,
wow.
What's this? Alex is caught last second on the binding. They're going to go for this fight. It's a 5v4. They're not going to be able to win this, I don't think. Solo King jumping in on purpose now. He's going to get the kickoff, but it won't be enough damage to kill Alex the man. 2 kills picked up, and this is going to be a Dragon. All they'll be able to answer for it is that split push topside second tier.
Really sloppy play from Team 8 there. They sort of just went in willy-nilly, looking like they were kind of trying to buy time for Slushi, but trading a second tier turret in that top lane for a Dragon plus a couple kills and map control on the bottom side of the map is not a favorable trade, and they could have done that a lot cleaner, tried to buy a little bit of time and allowed Sushi to pick up that turret while not giving up kills, but they don't. So that's going to put Zenith a little bit further in the head, but still not a lead that's gonna put them in a really comfortable position.
Yep, so with that, Alex now sitting pretty on 4-1. He has a completed static Shiv and is working his way towards probably a Banshee's Veil, just given the propensity of all of those individual status causing spells. So gotta be careful when dealing with later game Caitlyn, early getting up those item builds fully, as you know, you see on the counterpart, Draven's only got half a Bloodthirster finished right there. So also, the vision game from Zenith has been pretty good, despite the denial efforts. You know, everyone's investing in wards quite often. They're utilizing the extra gold they do have as an edge, and, you know, they're only going to get better as the game goes on.
I think it's really going to be on Calitrolls to initiate good fights, and also on Slushi to be able to know his limits when diving into a team fight, because this is not an easy team comp to dive, especially once the Zonia's Hourglass is completed from easy. It's going to be really hard for Slushi to get to the back line and gain some kills. Zenith can just pop his stun as soon as he sees Zed go for him. Also, you can use the Zonias, and Nami has one of the best peel as far as deterring assassins away from AD carries, and Hakuo went for the early Mikhails, well, relatively early Mikhails, to sort of stop some of that as well. So they should be in a pretty good position, and it's going to be tough for Slushi to be able to get to this backline safely.
He has been trying, though, really, almost getting to pop a number of champions, a number of times. He had a pretty decent 3-man up in the top earlier on, but since then hasn't really been able to make much of it. And now, again, Team 8 slightly on the back foot. Hakuo narrowly avoiding the Thresh Hook. They will back away from Team 8 Show of Force as they have a 1-man disadvantage, but there is a teleport up for Solo King, so he will be demanding that attention with the split push, and there's Team 8 scattering.
Both teams have pretty good pick potential. You have the hook from Dodo with follow-up from either Calitrolls, well, follow from a lot of his team, and you also have the stun coming out from Easy's Xerath, and we've seen him just straight up pop people with that stun, especially when they get some items. Wow, way out of position.
A little bit poorly here. Has to burn his flash to try to run away, but it's going to be a Wild Morgana chase, and they are going to land some CC. That's going to be one more pickup, and it goes over to Easy in style as he utilizes his Rite of the Arcane to pick that one off. Now, Porpoise a little bit out of position as well, has to back away, and this might be the chance for Zenith to push on these towers.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier they have a pretty good siege comp, especially when time to set up.
Mimo! They're going to get chased up by Slushi. Mimo's going to go down, or is he? There's a death mark, and it's going to be Slushi picking it up, and he will be able to just get away. Splat the bug, but he still has to help his team out there a little bit sooner. Still slight advantage here for Zenith as they go for this second tier mid.
I'm a little bit confused why Hakuo didn't use the Mikhails. It was up and available, and he could have saved Mimo's life, but he didn't react quick enough to it. He was in range, but I guess just not a quick enough reaction time to go ahead and save out Mimo. But all in all, not too much loss. It's just another extra kill over to Slushi that they didn't want. They still are able to pick up the mid second tier turret, and not much loss in that situation.
Absolutely. Now, it seems kind of like teammates just picking up consolation prizes. I mean, yeah, at this point, Slushi can pretty much pop an individual member, especially if they get isolated like that. But it's really not going to trade them much since the team doesn't have any pressure anywhere else on the map. So it's great, but what can Slushi do for the rest of his team after he's already assassinated somebody? Zenith was just able to continue pushing, like you said, and they're going to go right back in for a second round.
Once he finishes a defensive item, whether it be Guardian Angel or the Banshee's Veil, he should be in all right position to be able to block that first CC, the bubble or the stun from Zenith, or being able to just have that second life with the Guardian Angel will give him a lot more room and a lot more flexibility when it comes to those later game team fights, and allow him to sort of be able to assassinate someone and have been able to say to himself, well, I did my job.
Uh-oh, okay, now Slushi's hand is forced right now. He finds Solo King. There's the death mark.
Wow.
Not be enough damage in tower range, and he gets out by the skin of his teeth. But again, so close. Now Alex is caught up over by the dragon, or over by the mid side. That's a shutdown gold. Going over to Dodo, actually, and easy. They're getting popped out there. That's going to be a pickup for Porpoise, and Mimo and Hakuo are scattering. So Team 8 managing to take a solid 4v4 here. Might get a tower out of it.
Yeah, what a catch there. Alex the man just a little bit out of position, and then on the back of that, Calitrolls comes in from the side and lands the max range binding onto Easy. So 2 catches back to back, and that's a big win there for teammate. And it looks like they're posturing around Baron. They might just go for the vision control here. I'm not sure if they feel bold enough to go for the actual Baron attempt. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Take Baron control, take the vision control on that top side of the map, and wait for another catch. Sounds like a plan.
They can do it. 3 members in the bush. Calitrolls trying to look tasty as they get a little bit more warding out here. So establishing control of the pit here. They do make a couple of moves, sweep it out. You can tell that they want it, but it's still such a risky play, even if it's 28 minutes in. Oh, a teleport last second on the ward. Solo King's going to come in. They want to make a fight of this one. Calitrolls black shielding away the wave, and he gets the soul shackles out, but it's only going to be on Solo King. They're looking for the fight right here, right now. Flash is burned. That's Calitrolls. He's going low. Zani's Hourglass. Porpoise gets the insect kick back on the Mimo, but there's nowhere to go. It's going to be Slushi coming in. Finds Hakuo, and the game is paused in the middle of the fight. What is going on?
Oh my goodness. So
Porpoise is down.
Yeah,
That's
Porpoise
all we know.
If we take stock, Porpoise is down, but Mimo is very close to being down. We can't really tell what's going on in the bottom of the fight, but it looks like Easy and Maple Street are having a little duel with themselves. Wow, this fight
like
could still go anybody's way, because Calitrolls is still up, and a well-placed binding could still turn the fight. It's looking grim.
Yeah, this is a little bit nuts right now, so we'll have to see from the comms what's going on as far as the game pause is concerned, but this is going to be absolutely nuts when it does resume, so, well, we'll have to see.
Maybe somebody got hungry in the middle of the team fight.
Guys, I need a sandwich. Can we do this later?
Pause, guys. Need a snack.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. About to resume.
Oh, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Get ready, because here it goes. That's going to be Slushi trying to get out. Living Shadow dodging away, and Mimo, he's caught up in a Dark Bind. Dodo's going to get the hook in, but it's a double kill. Going over to Alex. Meanwhile, the duel you were talking about. Easy going down. Maple's on the wrong side of the fight, though. That's going to be the rest of the team members of Zenith going for it. Maple's going to try to pick a kill off all that. Will he be able to? He does. He gets a double kill. Cashing in those stacks.
Wow.
But he finally will go down, and that's picked up by Solo King. All said and done. That was a 3 for 2 in favor of Zenith. Close calls, closer fight, and they're still in a slight lead.
Yeah, just barely though. That's I wouldn't even call that a victory, because they lost a little bit of control over that top side of the map. So they get 1 extra kill, but concede control of the Baron area, and it looks like are going to concede this dragon as well, unless they can get there incredibly quickly. But
they're not even trying for it right now, and yeah, that's just teammate taking advantage of the confusion and scattered time. They will be going in there like that. So yeah, I think there's a word for it's an ancient Greek thing. It's a word for a victory that's so costly that it's not really worth it. Extra points if you know what it is.
Yeah, well, no extra points will be had from me today.
Well, that's too bad. We'll have to look it up after the game, but yeah, Zenith has been just getting these really, really close calls. Yes, they've been winning them, but they're losing a little bit of control of this game, and again, it's almost dead even right now with the way that this is playing out. And I don't know if the pause being at a different time would have really affected things or not. Clearly, that's not going to happen unless somebody's having some serious lag issues or something. And wow, Porpoise going to face check into Mimo, and that's going to be them bailing out of this one, trying to keep the vision coverage here. Zenith going to walk right on around to try and pick this one off. A hook's going to land on the Solo King, but he's just fine with that. And again, everything's going haywire by this Baron pit.
Yeah, and Porpoise Popped continuing his ward genocide. He has killed, I think, like 5 pink wards, maybe even 6 pink wards so far this game, and more regular wards than I can even count. So really doing work towards the vision control.
Oh, Callie, that shield's not going to last forever. One more shot would do it. Flashes away, but it doesn't matter. Alex is going to pick it up. They get another bubble onto Dodo. Do they go in? They do. Solo King, hook up onto Hakuo. That's not going to be enough. Dodo finally going down. They give that one over to Easy, and they pick themselves another 2 kills. Zenith in the 5-man, and we have another pause.
Yeah, that was just really good catch, and Easy has been pretty on point with his Zenith ultimates. He's really been landing those, and that could be a good chunk of damage. And they are going to take that a 2-for-0 trade, and it looks like they're positioning towards going for a siege on this mid lane as opposed to heading for that Baron, which is playing to their team's strengths. I like that idea. They have a good siege comp. Getting that inhibitor will mean a lot more for them as opposed to getting that Baron buff, and they can always just swing back. The death timers are pretty long, and even if they manage, especially if they manage to get another catch, it'll allow them to get those 2 objectives relatively easily. And it looks like Slushy's the one that's having trouble. They're all in the same house, I think. So maybe they
problems, man.
Maybe they need to get Slushy a better computer.
Oh.
He's always the last one in the loading screen as well. That's something that you guys don't see. But
if they win this one, they can afford some nice hardware. I mean, that's maybe some fine products by Western Digital.
And that LCS money as well.
Oh, all that LCS money. All right. Well, this game we'll get back in just a moment. And, of course, Zenith, as a 5-man unit here, they are going to be able to try and push towards this tower. They have to get through Porpoise, Slushy, and Maple, but still, they're kind of scattered right now. And with the way this is going, well, there isn't an hour turret for them to take here, but they could maneuver up to the top. They could back and try to bait out a Baron fight again, but they have been getting the better of catches just slightly. It's in their grasp, but it is a very, very close game still.
Yeah. And they have a really good front line and a really good back line. The balance in their team comp is, I'm talking about Zenith here, the balance in their team comp is pretty solid because they have the ability to follow up on initiation with their front line, Kha'Zix and Maokai, but they also have a really safe back line. Xerath can play from really far away and still be effective. Same goes for Caitlyn. And they both have their core defensive item built. Alex the Man has his Quicksilver Sash, and Xerath has his Zonda's Hourglass, so their anti-Zed mechanisms are both in place, as well as a buffer from Hakuo with that Mikhail, so they're sitting pretty.
And they're also able to zone quite well with Alex the Man's Ace in the Holes. Here comes Porpoise for the flank. They will try to chase him off. This tower should be fired down. Teammates given away here, and that's going to be one. They should be able to pick this one up as well. The inhibitor is just being chunked away, and Porpoise is really unable to do much of anything. It does land the Sonic Wave. Hakuo heals up all that damage and then some. They're going to be able to walk it right on out.
This is a very tough position to be in, though. Taking inhibitor, but not healthy enough to go for a safe Baron. You have to make sure that you find a good balance of who to send back and who to keep around to maintain Baron control and to maintain vision of that Baron area so that the other team can't just run and do it automatically, which is what teammate is going for. So this is a great call by Zenith.
Oh,
not just
Zenith
to automatically back.
Maple Street, they caught him. I don't think he's going to live through this one. That's a kickback, and Solo King's already gone. Pally Troll's coming in with the Soul Shackle. Should be able to land on Hakuo, but there's the wave disengaged. Callie's low. He's going to get picked off. Alex the Man with a Piltover Peacemaker. Torpus, he's zoomed in away, but his health bar is shrinking, and it's a 2-for-1. They want some more. Mimo flayed back too late. They're still going in for this one. They might even find more on this. They pick him off. Can they get the clean ace? It's just Dodo, last man standing at this point. He's kiting him away, but they're not even interested. They might just shoot straight for the Nexus at this point. They've got a wave, and Zenith eSports could be on the edge of victory here.
Yeah, only the support up, and Hakuo goes back to stop him. That's a support battle, but
stop the ports. That's
10 seconds. 10 seconds left on Maple Street.
Here. Oh, man, they're firing down the Nexus turrets. It's going to go so quickly here. 5 seconds on Maple Street, 18 on Porpoise. I don't think they're going to be able to defend this one. 3 members of Zenith poking away at the Nexus. There's no way Dodo can get back in time. They might get the kill. That's going to be one big Draven Axe, but they get the stun up. That's game over, and 32 minutes in, Zenith eSports up 1 game.
What a play. And inexperienced teams in that situation will say, hey, we need to back off so we can heal to be able to do that Baron. But Zenith sees it quickly. They had control over the red side jungle, so they saw that teammate was going gung-ho for that Baron buff, and they make a perfect catch right on to, I believe, Porpoise there at the end, or Maple Street at the end. And what a call there to double back around and stop that Baron, because that's a tough thing to do when you just take an inhibitor and you just want to fight with lower health. They were down as far as like health and ults and resources went, but they still managed to win the fight, and enough of a victory to be able to just push through the mid and win with the super minions that they gained from that inhibitor. So very well played by Zenith, and it looks like their problems closing out games have been remedied, at least for the time being.
Yeah, a really, really excellent last minute effort there, in all honesty. They were able to make a smart decision and catch Maple when he just moved a little bit too far out. So much CC, and they were just able to get resets after resets. So well played to them. Well-deserved win in game number 1. And Team 8, well, they'll have a chance to come back into this one. But as you mentioned, you know, people have been saying, whispering, they're out of practice. They're not quite at where they used to be. And maybe this is coming back to bite them. We'll see if they can pick it up and get one more win under their belts to make this a 3-game series. But if not, it's going to be Zenith taking it, going on ahead. Guys, we will be right back. Short break is all we're going to take, but when we return, the Black Monster Cup continues with our 3rd place match, so don't go anywhere.